Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. PlayStation Vita emulation has never been better because we now have it almost fully supported on Snapdragon 8 Elite devices, thanks to the new experimental Turnip Drivers, which I will of course link in the description below. Before these drivers were released, PlayStation Vita emulation on Snapdragon 8 Elite was horrible. The games would either have horrible game-breaking glitches, or they just wouldn't even launch at all. Now, thanks to the Turnip Drivers, we have a much better situation, which I'm going to show you in today's video. So here I have two Odin 3 handhelds. This is the Max version with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and this is the Pro version with 12 gigabytes of RAM, but that will not be relevant for today's video because both of them are more than capable of smashing through PlayStation Vita emulation at 2 times upscaled resolution. So as I open Vita 3K here on my Android devices, what we're actually going to be comparing in today's video is the graphical glitches and how the games actually look. It's not based on performance, as both of them will perform perfectly. What's important is if the games open and if they have any visual glitches, which are the things the Turnip Drivers can fix. So they are both set up absolutely identically. Absolutely no changes have been made to the stock configuration of Vita 3K. The only changes I've made in the settings is upscaling the internal resolution to 2 times on both devices. This white Odin 3 device at the top of the screen is using the stock default driver, and this 16-bit rainbow colorway Odin 3 at the bottom of the screen is using the A8XX Gen 8 V21 Turnip driver, which I will link in the description below. So let's see how much of a difference these new Turnip drivers make in PS Vita emulation. We have 21 games to go through in today's video, and as we go through, you may notice these little colored circles next to each game. That is Vita 3K's own compatibility report. Green signifies that the game should run pretty much perfectly, and all of the other colors mean something else. This is a little message to my editor Steve. Please put a graphic on the screen which explains what these colors mean so that I don't look stupid. Thank you, Steve, and let's get into the video, kicking things off with the first game, AC Chronicles, which is of course Assassin's Creed. Right away, the version without Turnip Drivers has crashed back to the home screen of Android, and the version with Turnip Drivers has gotten into the game, but I'm not sure this is really how it's meant to look. So while it is an improvement over not launching whatsoever, we clearly need further Turnip Driver support in order to make this fully playable. So without Turnip Drivers, Assassin's Creed is completely unplayable, and with Turnip Drivers, it does launch, but with horrible graphical glitches. Our next game is going to be Baseball Riot. Longtime viewers of the channel will know that I absolutely adore Tennis to the Face, which is coming up later in this video, as it does in all of my videos. This is another game by the same creators. A very small, low megabytes, easy to run game in theory. But as you will see, both of them load up into the game, but have horrible graphical glitches. This is something that unfortunately is not fixed by Turnip Drivers, and in both cases, this is not going to be playable. We can launch the game, but it is certainly not meant to look like this. Things aren't going great so far, but let's jump into BlazBlue Continuum Shift Extend. With Turnip Drivers, we are now into the game and we are playing. It looks absolutely perfect, it's running great, and the version without Turnip Drivers couldn't even get past the loading screen. So yet again, another game that's not going to get anywhere without Turnip Drivers, but this time with Turnip Drivers seems to be working perfectly. Our next game is Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z. Yet again, the version without Turnip Drivers couldn't even launch the game. It just froze on the opening picture. Here with Turnip Drivers, we seem to be in the game. Everything looks really great. I have to say, these upscale 1080p graphics on PlayStation Vita are beautiful. We're able to get a perfectly beautiful 60 frame per second frame rate as well, no problems. Even just on regular performance mode, not even needing the high performance mode of the Odin 3. So it means I'm able to keep the fan noise nice and quiet, the device stays nice and cool, and it looks glorious. Next up, we have 3 FIFA games, which are notoriously bad running on these devices in my experience, so we're just going to speed run them quickly. FIFA 13 doesn't run on either of them. FIFA 14 doesn't load at all without turnip drivers, and with turnip drivers it does load, but it looks like this monstrosity. Hopefully a newer, more mature turnip driver will finally fix this. And it's a similar story with FIFA 15. With turnip drivers, we again have these horrible glitchy graphics, and with the version without turnip drivers, it gets into the start menu just as it does here, and then crashes back to the Android home screen. Just for fun, let's see what a match looks like. Whoa! Now we're having fun. Oh, I think somebody scored! Was it me? Probably. Our next game is a big one of the most popular on the system, and that is the God of War collection. Let's see how it does without turnip drivers and with turnip drivers. Now, in a massive curveball and surprise in this video, it seems to be running perfectly without turnip drivers, and it looks like a mess with turnip drivers. Now, I have tested this game before making this video, and in all of my tests, it worked perfectly with turnip drivers and would not work without them, which is why I made the thumbnail. Now, when I sit down to record it, it seems to have completely switched, which completely ruins my thumbnail, so just pretend this didn't happen. It seems to be working beautifully without turnip drivers, and the version with turnip drivers is a mess. We may need to play around with the resolution scaling to fix this. And just to be as helpful as I can, let me try that for you now. I've increased the resolution scale up to 2.25 times resolution, and now everything is fixed. These are new, immature beta turnip drivers. Even calling them beta might be quite generous. And there are problems with glitching textures across every system right now, from Vita to Switch to GameHub. And if you run into those problems, you simply need to change the resolution scale. Move it up or down and it should be fixed. So thankfully now it is running very nicely as it should be. Even now at a 2.25 times resolution scale, it feels buttery smooth. But unfortunately, this one decided to start working right when I pressed record on my camera, which has completely ruined my thumbnail. But it's too late to change it now, so please just pretend you never saw this. The next game we're going to try is probably the most popular PlayStation Vita game. Whenever I search on Google, what is the most popular game, what is the best game, Gravity Rush is the one that comes up the most. So let's see how Gravity Rush runs with turnip drivers and without. With turnip drivers, the game is running beautifully. It looks fantastic, it's nice and smooth, and everything is running just as it should. And the version without turnip drivers is just a black screen. Unfortunately, it is not playable without turnip drivers, so thank God they finally came out, at least in their current beta state. This game uses the gyroscope in order to look around, and all of these Android handhelds have a really nice gyroscope included, as well as a touchscreen for the touch elements of the game, and beautiful OLED panels, making them fantastic for playing these PlayStation Vita games. At least once we have turnip driver support, because without turnip driver support, we just again have a black screen. Our next game to try is Hot Shots Golf. I believe it's known as Everybody's Golf in other regions. Once again, this is the difference without turnip drivers and with. We're crashed back to the home screen here, but with turnip drivers, we're able to start the game. But again, we have these horrible glitching textures. So this is by no means the finished final product ready to go. But after closing the game and opening it again, those textures seem to have been fixed. Now it also crashed. So yes, definitely not a completely fixed solution there, but you can see progress being made. And I hope that when the turnip drivers mature more, we will get a fully workable game. LittleBigPlanet PS Vita version gives us nothing without turnip drivers. With turnip drivers, it seems to load up a little bit, but then just doesn't really load properly. We're able to bring up a few UI elements, but no playable game to be played here. Once again, we need more improvements and developments, and I'm not actually sure if this game is even playable on PS Vita anyway in this state, because it wants to connect to the internet. Our next game is another big one, another possible contender for the best game on PS Vita, Persona 4 Golden. This game so far seems to be running pretty perfectly in both situations. I know that in Persona games there are various rooms, various levels that create graphical problems, but so far in the beginning of the game, everything seems to be running really nicely in both situations. Now, because there are some things that can potentially cause problems further down the line, having the Turnip driver, at least a more mature working one, will give more peace of mind for future stability. So I would recommend using it, but so far, at least during the beginning of the game, running around, I've not noticed any graphical glitches like I have in many other games at this same point of time. So while we do need to do some more testing, and please let me know in the comments below if you have experience with Persona 4 Golden on the Snapdragon 8 Elite, at least so far the signs are encouraging, and while I'd love to spend some time getting further into this game to show you guys more of the levels further on, I do have a lot more games to get through still. The next two games are Rayman games, and these are two of the games I found worked well already on the Snapdragon 8 Elite without Turnip drivers. So when I was first testing out my Snapdragon 8 Elite device, these Rayman games were two of the ones I would usually test because they seem to work well without any drivers pretty reliably. As you can see, both devices are running absolutely beautifully here, and Rayman is a game that just looks so good. The art style just looks so fantastic when upscaled on these beautiful screens. Look how nice this looks, it's just so beautiful. And to save your time, both of the Rayman games look exactly the same as this. They run great and look great. So on to the next game, a classic, Ridge Racer. This is a game that utilizes the touchscreen a lot, which is very nice to use on a device like this. As you can see, without Turnip drivers, the game just will not load. A familiar story. With Turnip drivers, we are into the game. It seems to be running very well. It looks fantastic. The frame rate is extremely smooth as well. Even at this still 2.25 times resolution, we are running beautifully smooth here on the Odin 3 Pro with 12 gigabytes of RAM. I think 12 gigabytes of RAM is a good amount for most people and most situations. So as you can see, it's running absolutely great here, but without Turnip drivers, we can't launch the game. The next game is one I'm really excited to try, which is Rollers of the Realm, which I heard is a kind of role-playing game based around pinball. Here we are in our game of pinball with Turnip drivers. Everything's looking fantastic. It runs great. We're able to smash guards in the face and in the testicles with our pinball. Beautiful stuff. And for this game in particular, even without Turnip drivers, we are running exactly the same. So this is one of the quite few games that runs great with and without Turnip drivers. So if you're someone who doesn't have Turnip drivers yet, you could be enjoying this game. Although now they are released in their beta form, there is no reason not to pick them up and give them a try. Ooh, right in the gonads. Next up, we have a Ryan retro favorite, Tennis in the Face. Once again, just like God of War earlier in the video, this one would not run at all without Turnip drivers in all of my testing. But now when I sit down to film the video, it's actually working great. So it seems there is a way to get this working, you just need some good luck, or perhaps to record something you think you know so the game can prove you wrong. And in many ways, this game is just like God of War. It's certainly the same high quality. Next up, we have The Amazing Spider-Man. This is a game I've tried to run on many consoles and has been the bane of my life. Once again, we unfortunately have that horrible glitch with Turnip drivers. This horrible flashing that really needs to be solved. I hope with future Turnip driver updates they can fix this, because this is not pleasant to look at. And here, once again, without Turnip drivers, we actually seem to be running pretty okay. So it's another situation where the Turnip drivers need to mature more to be fully usable. Next up, we have another contender for potentially the best game on the system, Uncharted Golden Abyss. This game unfortunately is completely broken on both. It looks a little bit different. Without Turnip drivers, we have this horrible black flashing all over the screen, and with the Turnip drivers we have a lot less black flashing, but everything is really vibey and trippy. You can actually see these rainbow colors here as well, when you can actually see anything. It's this same vibrant rainbow rave situation. Here the Turnip drivers seem to have fixed the black flashing, but I wouldn't really say this is playable unless this is your vibe. Maybe you like the rainbow colors like this. Maybe you think this looks awesome. I would say it's technically playable like this. It's not playable like that. But if we're being truthful and not just having a laugh, it's not playable in either case. Our next game is one of my favorite game series. I like to play the Game Boy Advance version of this game, the Dreamcast version of this game. I love this game. It's Virtua Tennis. Let's of course choose the UK's finest, Andy Murray. The version without Turnip drivers just crashes back to the Android home screen. and the version with Turnip Drivers does mostly function. During regular play, it looks great and plays very nice and smoothly, but unfortunately replays are broken and just show a black screen. So do the introduction videos at the beginning of games. So it's certainly not perfect, but the actual gameplay itself does seem to be working perfectly fine. And that's what matters. The last game on our alphabetical list is another favorite, WipEout 2048. Both games launch into the main screen, but as you'll see on the version without Turnip Drivers, none of the buttons do anything, they just flash, whereas the version with Turnip Drivers functions properly. So if you'd like to play WipEout 2048 on your Snapdragon 8 Elite device, you're going to need to grab the Turnip Drivers. So as you can see in this video, getting Turnip Drivers certainly helps in quite a lot of games. It is not perfect by any means, there are still screen flickers and flashes as the drivers are brand new and still very immature, but there are a lot of games that become launchable and playable with the Turnip Drivers that were not possible to play before. This is one of the reasons I didn't recommend the Odin 3 to a lot of people before Turnip Driver support came. Just as we saw in my previous Switch video as well, without Turnip Drivers a lot of games just were not playable. And thanks to these Turnip Drivers, even in their beta form, we are getting more and more games becoming supported and playable, which is fantastic. So if you'd like to set this up for yourself, head to the GitHub repository link in the description below, and here you will find the latest releases of Turnip Drivers. The latest one at the time of filming was 3 days ago, and this is Turnip A8XXV22, so in fact a little bit newer than the one I was using. And what you want to do is scroll down until you find where it says Assets, and you want to click the main zip file at the top of the list, A8XX Gen 8 V22.zip. Click on that and it will start downloading. It's only 2 megabytes, so it should only take a few seconds. And once that's done, go back into Vita 3K. At the top of the screen, come to Configuration, Settings, then come along to GPU, which you will probably need to tap twice. Make sure the backend renderer is set to Vulkan. And if you just switched it from OpenGL to Vulkan, you're going to now need to save and close and restart the application. If you were already in Vulkan, you can now move on to the next step, which is to now select your driver. So we're going to tap this Add Custom Driver button. Tap on it, and you'll be back in the Vita 3K screen. You then need to tap where it says Default, and choose your driver from the list. So I'm going to choose the new one we just downloaded, the V22 driver. You're then going to need to scroll down, and we're going to choose Save and Close. We now need to reboot the application. So close the application and open it again, and your Turnip driver is now installed and ready to go. And you should now see better compatibility in most of your games. As we saw today, it's not perfect, it's not completely finished, but it is a fantastic start. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm sure before long we'll be saying hello again.